Happy Friday. It is time again for 3 questions to better business. And I am looking forward to today's interview because I am talking with a Hall of Fame speaker, 29-time Emmy winner. His name is Bill Stainton. And for 15 years, he produced the longest running, highest rated, and most award-winning regional comedy TV show in the United States. He and his team were literally paid to be innovative on demand. Now, Bill works with other forward-thinking leaders who want to harness the power of innovation to turn creativity into money. Today, he and I are going to talk about how to cultivate an innovative culture. Welcome, Mr. Bill Stainton. Very good to have you with us today.
Thanks, Michael. It's a blast being here. Thanks for having me.
Well, one of the things I love about talking with you is that not only is the conversations we have, but also when you post daily in LinkedIn, I always get some bit of wisdom from you. So I appreciate what you're providing through LinkedIn.
Good. So I've fooled at least one person. That's the goal.
Exactly. That's all it's about. You'll notice that Bill doesn't always take life seriously. All right, let's get into our first question about innovation. Why is it that so many people say, I'm just not creative? I suck at innovation.
Oh my goodness. They really do. I mean, we all know somebody who's like, I'm not the idea person. I don't have an imagination. I'm not creative. I'm not, I just don't have that. I leave that to others. I think one of the big reasons is that people have this mistaken idea of what creativity and innovation really are. They think it's the lightning bolt that comes down from above and it only strikes the gifted few, like the Steve Jobs and the Elon Musks and people like that. And so they think, oh well, that's not me. I'm not. They just think it just like happens, and it doesn't. It's not. Innovation is not about the lightning bolt. It's about connecting dots, as it says right up there. Connecting dots. There
you go.
It's about seeing two or more different things and finding that connection. That's the real light bulb moment when you find that connection. And I learned that when I was doing comedy writing, producing my comedy TV show and writing for the Tonight Show and things like that. It's the same thing. You look at two or more things that don't belong together, you connect them. In comedy, boom, that's called the punchline.
Right.
In innovation, it's called the iPhone. You take some things. So it's all about those connections. That's why it's so important to be a dot collector and a dot connector, because the dots are the ideas, the people, the books you read, the articles you read, the TV shows you watch, the podcasts you listen to. Those are all dots. And the more of them you have and the more different they are, the more unique connections you can make. That's really what innovation is. That's people tend to overcomplicate it. They either think it's too complex or it's magic, neither of which is particularly helpful. It's a skill. It's a skill that we can learn. So,
well, Bill, aren't we? Because you and I have several friends who are in the humor world. Karen Buxman, Jeff Rogers, Ray Angan, to name just a few. And they constantly talk about the fact that we're born as laughers, right? We have great senses of humor. We laugh, God, 300-400 times a day. And then as adults, well, we can't laugh. Life's too serious. Isn't this true about innovation also? Kids are the most innovative people in the world, especially when somebody broke the lamp and they're telling you about the man who ran in and broke the lamp and then ran out. And he also ate the Oreos on the way out of the kitchen.
Right, exactly.
They're creative. But so we're born with this, right? It just gets beaten out of us.
We're born, it's beaten out of us. And also there is a reason why we kind of stop doing that, because when we're first born and when we're developing as humans, the formative years, we don't know anything. So we're curious about everything because we don't know how anything works. We don't know, so and our brain when we're young is meant to absorb everything, like all the input, because we don't know what's important yet and what's not important. So we're just soaking it all in. By the time we get to adulthood, we've kind of, our brain has gotten into certain patterns. So I don't need to process this information anymore. And I don't even need to process that information anymore. I just, we have a very limited idea of what's important to us anymore. And so we stop using those parts of the brain that are naturally inquisitive and that lend themselves to natural learning. We just kind of stop. It's like driving a car. You no longer have to think about where's the brake pedal. Our brain's not exerting any energy into that. So it just kind of leaves that part alone. And it's the same thing with creativity and innovation, because most of us in our day-to-day lives don't have to be creative or innovative. Most of us are not comedy writers. Most of us don't have to do that every day, or most of us are not inventors or whatever. And so we just don't focus on it. It's really a choice. We can choose to focus on being innovative, and the opportunities are all over the place. They're everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
Well, I know you've been in this field for a long time about innovation, and it seems to me, look, I get as a survival skill, we all need to create habits and patterns, or else our brains would fry.
Right.
Is it getting worse though, because technology is changing so fast that we're creating so many habits that we close off our minds totally to innovation and creativity?
I think there is a danger of that. But again, it doesn't have to happen automatically. When you think of it this way, here's kind of a simple idea of what it really looks like. What really makes the difference between an innovator and a non-innovator, a creative person and a non-creative person. Here's what happens. We all go through our day pretty much typically. We wake up, brush our teeth, get dressed, go about our day. Do-de-do-de-do. We walk along. And every now and then, bam, we hit a brick wall. Some kind of obstacle, some challenge, something doesn't go our way. We get a flat tire on the way to a meeting. We stub our toe on a piece of furniture, or maybe a global pandemic shuts down the entire world. Whatever it is, they're all sizes and shapes of brick walls, but we hit a brick wall, and we have what I call the Homer Simpson moment. We go, "No!" And that's where most of us stop. We have that Homer Simpson moment, and then we stop. We hit that brick wall, and we might whine and complain about it, but most of us don't take it any further. The innovator, the creative person, the breakthrough thinker, does all that. Wakes up, brushes their teeth, gets dressed, walks through their day, bam, hits a brick wall, has the Homer Simpson moment, no! But then they take it just one more step. They ask a question. And the question is simply this: how can I make this better? See, most of us don't do that part. And at its core, that's what innovation is. It's a search for the answer to that question. How can this be better?
Okay.
And anybody can do that. It's just a matter of getting into the mindset of when you see something that's not as good as it could be, or it's a little inconvenient, even if it's just rearranging your spice, cabinet or whatever, just something. Oh, this can be better. That's innovative thinking. That's stretching yourself a little bit. And the more you do that, the more your brain kind of learns that, we're going to be innovators. Okay, we're doing this. Okay, we're going to be problem solvers. That's what an innovator is. An innovator is a problem solver. Most of us are just problem complainers. So it's not as complex as people make it.
Well, we're human beings, and we tend to make everything more complicated.
Yeah.
So this leads us to the second question, which is, what's the big difference between creativity and innovation?
I'm really glad you asked that. A lot of people just think they're synonymous. Creativity, innovation, same thing. They're not. Creativity is a part of innovation. Creativity is the fun part. It's the coming up with the ideas part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people think that's innovation. No. Innovation is applied creativity. I say that innovation is turning creativity into money. It's taking those ideas and turning them into something of value, which is what solving a problem is.
Yeah.
And the value doesn't necessarily have to be like money, like cash money. It can be savings in time. It could be making the world a better place. Whatever. But creating something of value out of those ideas, because ideas are easy to come up with. I mean, I've got all kinds of tricks of the trade for here's how you can come up with ideas. And some of those ideas will be good, and most of them won't be good, and that's fine. That's exactly the way it's supposed to work. But those ideas are completely worthless if you don't put them into some kind of action. If you don't apply those ideas to something, that's what innovation is. And a lot of people stop because they think, the ideas, again, that's the fun part. But actually turning them into something, first of all, figuring out which ideas to work with and which not to work with, kind of triaging what are the good ones, which are not the good ones, and then actually, putting them into action, executing those ideas. That can be hard work. Again, there are ways to do that, but it can be hard work, and so most people don't go that far. If we go to the Homer Simpson moment again, solving a problem. Everybody has had this experience, or knows somebody who's had this experience where they think, look at that invention that just came out. That's a hot sell. I had that idea. years ago. Okay. Yeah, you had the idea. And how much was that worth? Zero. Having an idea is not worth anything. Yes, you need to do it, but when does it become worth something? When you put it into action. And that's when creativity turns into innovation. Does that make sense?
It does. And I just had a thought, that's a tweetable moment. The idea is worth
Did I say something
nothing
tweetable?
until you take action. Yes.
Wow.
Look, I'm going to capture it for posterity. We'll put it out on Twitter just for you, Bill.
Excellent.
And Ray Engen says there's nothing better than Bill and Michael.
Ray really needs to aim higher.
Ray needs to get out this weekend.
Ray needs
to say.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of wisdom coming from you today, Bill, as always. So yeah, I appreciate that. Now that will lead to question 3, which is more organizational. What does an organization have to do to create a culture of innovation?
Oh, that's a big question. The first thing that they have to do, that an organization has to do to create a culture of innovation, is decide that they really want one. Because you and I both know every organization says, "Oh, we value innovation. We want people to be risk takers. Every organization says that, but few of them really, put their money where their mouth is. Few of them really follow through on that or really believe it." So,
but wait, it's in our mission statement. You see up here?
Yeah, it's in the mission statement along with these other 15 paragraphs that were vetted by the lawyers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the first thing you have to do is decide, do you really want this? It's kind of like, it's very easy to say, I want a puppy. And you can go out and get a puppy. But you know what? You got to feed those things every single day. You got to take them out for walks. You've got to, there's responsibility there. You can't just say, "Oh, we're going to have a culture of innovation." Again, just put it up in the, in the mission statement.
Right.
And then do nothing with it. You got to feed it every single day. You got to take it out for a walk. So if you're going to say that we're going to have an innovation culture, a culture of innovation, first of all, you better believe in it yourself if you're a leader. Because the leader can say anything he or she wants, but if there's no action, if they don't actually personify that, then eventually the rest of the team gets the impression, oh, that's okay, that was just something they said. This really is not important. So you have to show that you've got to show that this is really, really important. And by that, I mean, you've got to reward innovation. So many organizations say, no, we want people to be innovative. But then if your innovation doesn't turn into $1 million product or $1 million idea, then you get punished for wasting time or whatever, or failing. I wrote about that the other day.
Yeah, you did.
And what does that do? That just sends a message that, okay, we don't really value innovation. We only value the innovations that work. Well, that's not how innovation itself works. So if you want that culture of innovation, you've got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. You've got to walk the walk, and you've got to reward the innovations, the little ones as well as the big ones. And there's all kinds of innovation. There's product innovation, there's process innovation, there's business model innovation. It's not just coming up with new products and services. But you've really got to be able to showcase that. You've got to tear down the hierarchy somewhat, especially in larger organizations. Man, nothing will kill innovation faster than having to go up the chain of command.
Yeah. Because
with every level of that chain of command, every step on that ladder is a chance for somebody to kill the innovation a little bit. So look, you and I have both have a humor background. It's like running jokes through the legal committee.
We're just thinking about legal committees. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to say no to everything. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens if every idea that somebody further down on the chain has to go, through 7 layers before it gets to somebody who can actually say yes or no to it. It's always going to be no. In fact, most of the times it's never even going to make it to that 7th layer, because it'll get killed somewhere along the line, or maybe a death by 1,000, whatever that phrase is. Somebody says, "Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, but let's do this. Oh, this will be safer. What if we don't? Can we do it for less money? Can we?" And all of a sudden, it gets up to the person who can greenlight it. And that person says, "Well, this is stupid." Well, yeah, it is now.
Exactly.
Because it's been through a committee. or committees, and that they all try and play it safe.
It's like
So
having 58 people look at your speech, and by the time you get done, it's like,
yeah,
I think there's one sentence in there I started with.
right, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So
What
you need to do whatever you can to kind of tear those hierarchies down, and make a basically what you really have to do is remove the obstacles to innovation. That's really it. I mean, if you say we value innovation and you really mean it and you really do value innovation, then innovation will start to happen. You'll start bringing in the right people, and the kind of talent that likes innovation will be attracted to come work in that organization. So the innovation will happen. Mostly what you have to do is make sure there's nothing there impeding it. Just again, figure out what the obstacles are, remove those obstacles.
Wouldn't it make more sense for an organization, instead of standing up in front of the group and saying, we're going to be an innovative culture now, rather than say it, why not just do it in small doses and create a habit within each department, within each person, and then one day stand up and say, oh, guess what? We are an innovative company.
Right.
Not we're going to be, just start doing it.
Yeah, and I love what you said about do it in small doses, because I think that's another thing that stops organizations from being innovative. Is that again they have that mistaken idea that innovation has to be a huge bet the farm thing.
Right.
And sure, there are those innovations, and if those don't work out, okay, those can have devastating consequences, of course. But okay, let's do small innovations. Small innovations can still have a big impact, but it's not requiring you to again bet the entire farm, bet the entire company on it. You can do these small things, small experimental innovations. Even the large ones, you can find smaller ways to roll them out to test the market. I mean, that's a whole separate conversation there.
Sure.
But you can kind of hedge your bets a little bit. That doesn't mean necessarily playing it safe, but it means like we're going to value all innovations, large as well as small.
Makes sense. And it's like working out. If you're 50 pounds overweight and you've got high blood pressure and you're on the verge of diabetes,
Yeah.
you're going to start real small, but those little steps keep building. It's like the person who's terrified of speaking in front of a group. We're not going to stick you in front of 5,000 people tonight.
Right.
We're
Right.
going to send you to a Toastmasters group and say, look, just stand up and introduce
Stand up and do
yourself.
5 minutes. We're not going to ask you to do a 1-hour keynote.
Yeah, even that, just stand up and introduce yourself. Next time you'll speak for 2 minutes, then 3, and yeah, that
Right.
It's no different with innovation.
Yeah. It's exactly the same.
So just,
but again, it all
habits.
starts, whether we're talking about an individual or an organization, it starts with making that decision that yes, this is important. Innovation is important to me. Innovation is important to our organization. It starts with just making that statement and then backing it up with action.
Absolutely. Meecher just put up a good comment. She said, a friendly competition for most innovative idea is always a good way of getting employees involved. A little trophy for the winner each time. There you go. Some kind of reward.
Yeah, people always say what gets measured gets done. That's not true. What gets measured gets measured. What gets measured and rewarded gets done. And that goes into the whole thing about rewards, because different people value different kind of rewards. Not everybody wants to get a trophy in front of the group. Introverts, that's death to them. They don't want that. So figure out what works with different members of your team. But yeah, you need to reward it. And so yeah, a little friendly competition is a great way. I mean, look, you gamify it, you measure it, you put a chart up in someplace where everybody can see it, showing the progress. Like, oh, who had the best idea or whatever, or the most ideas or the most bad ideas. Because here's the secret: the best way to get a good idea is to get a lot of bad ideas. Just get a lot of ideas. When it comes to creativity and innovation, quality is a function of quantity.
Yeah, it reminds me, and I know he's become kind of a cliche as an example, but he was so damn successful. Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
I once read, he said, I'm most proud of the 98 out of 100 products we never brought to market than I am the ones we did, because that was going to send our company. That's why we were in trouble when I took over again. By the way, speaking of trophies, Mitra said kind of like the trophy Bill has in the background.
Yeah, there's a few of them back there. I've got some of my Emmys back there, and then this one is for the Speaker Hall of Fame. That ugly lucite one that somebody asked me once, is that a bowling trophy? No, that's actually the pinnacle of my career.
Bowling trophy.
Yeah, and it's okay. Yeah,
they didn't think that one out. What you just said though makes me think, to take this to a deeper level within a company, when you know what your employees or your team members most value, it means you've taken the time to get to know them too.
Yeah.
You're not giving them a reward that you would like.
Right.
Just like as speakers, and I'm getting ready to make a post about this. If you're one of those high energy people at 7 a.m. and you come out rah with like you've had 10 cups of coffee and you're having people high five and slap on the back, and these people are half asleep, you're not thinking about them.
You're not. Some of the best advice I ever heard for speaking, because that's what I do for a living, is meet them where they are and then take them to where you want them to be.
Right.
Read the room, and then take them on that journey.
Yeah. And it's really not that hard to do, to pay attention.
Yeah.
Another habit. So
yeah.
Bill, I could talk with you for hours about this, but we're going to keep it to a limited time frame today. Now, what if people want to take a deeper dive with you? I have let's see, where are we here? There we go. This is your website, which is so interesting because that's your name.
Isn't that
amazing how that worked out?
Yeah.
And Bill at billstainton.com was available. You grabbed it. So if they want to write to you, what can they get on your website? And I'm also going to recommend that you seek out Bill on LinkedIn. And I'm sure you post elsewhere, but you have daily posts on there.
Yeah.
Or at least 3 times a week.
At least 3 times a week. Sometimes.
Great. Yeah. I mean, great insight and wisdom from Bill. Helps me every time. So where else, or what can they get at your website that will help?
I've got a blog at my website with more articles on innovation, things like that. There's some resources there. I've got a cheat sheet on 5 ways to come up with innovative ideas fast. If you're facing a challenge or an opportunity and think, "Ooh, I need to come up with some ideas right away," and you don't quite know how, you can get that. It's a free cheat sheet that gives you at least 5 great ways to come up with an idea fast. So there's all kinds of resources and things like that on there.
Okay. Well, Bill, you are a rock star. I appreciate you so much, your wisdom, and look forward to more conversations between us in the future. Before we close out here, if you would like to get your 52 storytelling tips, which is my area that I work in, you can go to my info, and I'll put this below the show notes in the replay, info.co speaking CPR, and you will just go to this page, if this would cooperate with me. It doesn't want to work.
I've got high hopes for you. Oh, look at that.
There you go. It looks like it's kind of a cool virtual business card I've been using now. It looks like a phone. If you go to that button right there and click on, you can register for those. So I'll be happy to make sure you get the 52 storytelling tips. Next Friday, join me because, as we like to say here, coming soon to a live stream near you, Patrick McGowan, who is a video expert. He will help you create the best possible look on video. Join Patrick and me for that. Again, Bill, thank you. I know I will talk to you, but for the people watching, if they don't get to see you, I hope they have a very happy holiday season. Bill, keep innovating, keep creating, keep posting all that brilliant wisdom.
Thanks, Michael. This is a blast.
All right. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Take care.